Hi, I'm the Rick in Rick Turns, and I'm in my brand new shop now, in my new house. The shop was built as a detached garage by the previous owner, and I have just finished over the course of a month of putting in electricity, putting in insulation, putting up walls, and of course getting all my equipment unpacked and so forth and so on. So for the first time in about 10 months, I think, I'm going to be able to actually make a wood turning video about wood turning, and not just videos about the wood turning videos that were published last month on YouTube. So for my first wood turning video in 10 months, I'm not going to do a wood turning video. I'm going to talk about updating my shop because I ran across several new products that I think are really nice. And I just want to point them out to people who might be doing upgrades or might be looking to solve a minor problem like some of the ones I encountered when I was updating this building to be a wood turning workshop. Now, the workshop here has been paneled all the way around, every wall, every surface in pegboard. I found pegboard to be a terrific way to keep tools handy and not hidden in drawers and stuff. So that's one thing I'm going to look at, is pegboarding my shop, because there are a few considerations. When I did my first shop, which was probably 25 years ago or so, I bought pegboard with 1/8 inch holes. I think pegboard with 1/4 inch holes was available at that time, but I honestly don't remember. It's been a long time, but the 1/8 inch holes were cheaper, and that's what I got. This time, when I went to buy some pegboard to outfit my shop here, all I found at the Home Depot where I went to was pegboard with 1/4 inch holes, and that's fine. A little stronger, I think. The pegs themselves are going to be a little bit stronger. The pegboard I used is 1/4 inch holes. That is, each one of these holes is a 1/4 inch diameter. They're 1 inch on center. Now this is a 1/8 inch peg right here. The diameter of the steel wire here is 1/8 of an inch. So the 1/8 inch peg, it will fit the 1/4 inch hole pegboard just fine. And while on a 1/8 inch hole pegboard, it's a very secure fit, on the 1/4 inch pegboard, as you can see, it's very loose. And a lot of times that doesn't matter. But if you put something on there that might grab when you grab it off the wall, it'll frequently just pull that 1/8 inch pegboard out of the 1/4 inch hole. And believe me, that is just really annoying. By now, the suspense is probably killing you. Gee, what kind of pegs do I use for 1/4 inch hole pegboard? Well, there are a number on the market. First of all, in standard bent steel wire pegs like these, you can get these in 1/4 inch diameter. They're a lot more expensive. Here's another one that I purchased to try out. This is from DuraHook. And as you can see, it's got a hook right here, which goes on the bottom. Drop it in just like that. Then you've got a screw, and this is a pretty fat-bodied screw intended for 1/4 inch holes. You put it in, and then you just screw it right into the hole that's right above it. And that gives you a very, very secure peg. Now the disadvantage to that is moving them. If you want to move it, say right over here, you got to take the screw off. That's a little bit of a nuisance. It's not huge. The screw's only got 3 or 4 turns in it. The other disadvantage of this is the cost. I paid about $8 for 10 of these. Now that's fairly significant because I need hundreds. And so I just bought one package to try them out, and they work great, but they are expensive. What I settled on for my pegs is some plastic pegs. These are quite sturdy. These are 1/4 inch right here, and they pop in, and the manufacturer calls them flex. You kind of push up on them and pop in there, and now you've got a really strong hole. It's not going to pull off of there when you lift the tool off, even if you catch a tool on it. It's pretty strong. And it's got little wings here to give it a little bit of lateral stability. Now these pegs, which I think this particular brand is called WallPeg, and I bought a bunch of these. These are fairly reasonably priced. I got about, I think, 50 for $7 or $8, and a pack of 100 for around 11. They come in different styles. This is a large and strong peg. Fits in the same way. You give it a little flex and it pops right in like that. And then finally they've got another type like this one, as you can see, totally enclosed like that. And it pops in the same way. You kind of flex it like that. And this is good for small objects such as screwdrivers or chisels. So that is my recommendation for pegs. If you're looking for pegs, I suggest going to Amazon and look for WallPeg, I believe it is. And I'll put a link in the show notes down below the video to show you what it is. Well, this is fairly mundane. This is a paper towel holder. And I'm including it in this video because you can pull off a paper towel with only one hand. Rips off very nicely, just like that. Paper towel holder I've been using for years. If I did that to it, I would either spin off 3 or 4 towels onto the floor, or the towel itself would tear where the perf wasn't, and I'd get half of a towel instead of the whole thing. Okay, I know that's probably pretty trivial, but actually to me, I find that a terrific improvement. Well, another product that I want to talk about is an automatic light switch. I put in a regular light switch to the shop when I wired it up because there was no power out here, no outlets, nothing like that. So after I wired up my shop and put in a light switch, I just put in a regular switch just like this. And of course that works fine. The trouble is, I found over the next few weeks I could never remember to turn it off. I would look out the window out the back of the house after dark and see that I had left the lights on in the shop. So I figured there had to be a better way of handling that. And sure enough, after browsing around on Amazon for a while, I found a product like this. There's a number of different ones. This one is from Top Grainer, but there's a number of different ones of these type of automatic light switches, and this is called an occupancy sensor light switch. It's got several settings on it, several types of settings that you can either set it for occupancy followed by vacancy or vacancy only. In my case, what I wanted it to do was when I walked into the shop, I wanted it to turn on, and when I leave the shop after a certain short period of time, I wanted it to turn the lights off. So if I forget to turn the lights off, no problem. They'll go off in a few minutes, anywhere from 15 seconds up to 30 minutes. I think I've got it set somewhere like the halfway mark around that range. And it's got a sensor in it so that it senses motion. As long as you're working in the shop and you're within range of the sensor, it's not going to turn the light out on you. For me, my light switch is kind of over in a corner, which is not the greatest place for a light switch with an occupancy sensor on it. And maybe someday I'll end up moving it to a different spot where it's got a wider view of the workshop. But right now, it's going to see any motion up near the front of the workshop, which is where my lathe is and my workbench and so forth. And I think that's going to work out pretty well. Let's take a closer look at this switch. This is the occupancy sensor light switch. And beneath this little cover here, we've got the controls. So there are several settings that you can actually mess around with that help. And this setting right over on the left-hand side here that says time, that's the time delay. After it no longer senses any motion, it will wait that long to shut off. And then the small dial right in the center is range, whether you want it to cover, the sensor to cover a large range in depth or shorter range in depth. And then right on the other hand is light, which adjusts somewhat sensitivity to light. And I don't recall a lot of detail about that particular one. Now I'm going to demonstrate how this works. I'm going to walk outside. I've got the time set down very short, like, I don't know, 20 or 30 seconds. And there we go. As you can see, the lights shut off by themselves. As soon as I walked in, the sensor picked up the movement and turned the lights back on, which is what I wanted. One other product that I wanted to mention to you that I have found very useful now is this type of storage bins. Now, these are convenient because they have a pretty handy tip-out tray like this. Won't come all the way out, clear on the front, a small place for mounting a label right up here. If you want them to come all the way out, they pop out just like that. And the mounting screws or the mounting holes for this are 16 inches on center, and that is good because all of my other parts cabinets, the mounting holes are rather haphazard, sometimes 10 inches, sometimes 12, sometimes 11 1/4, who knows what they all are. These, however, are great. Now, I did not find these by myself. If you take a look at the Down to Earth Woodworkers channel, he just did a video on these. And that's how I happened to find them. And so far, they're definitely one of the best parts cabinets I've found. Now, the bad news is they're also one of the more expensive. The small shelf, the small trays right here, this unit right here was 20 bucks. This one right here with the larger trays is 30 bucks. So it's a little pricey, certainly compared to other units where you have smaller trays and standalone sizing like these over here. You can pick these up pretty cheap, like 20, 30, 40 trays for 20 bucks or less. I am going to stick with these from now on. I'll probably be populating my workshop with some more of these as I go along, as I fill these up, replace some of the older trays. Okay, that's it for today's video. A lot of information you might not have been interested in. My next video, since this is the end of the month, today is the 28th. My next video is going to be on the videos that were published on YouTube in September this month. And then after that, I'll have a real wood turning video again. So, see you next video.